Welcome to the Vibe Marketing Lab.
All right, welcome to our second check-in for the Vibe Marketing Lab. Our Vibe marketers have had some time to work on their projects. We're going to check in now and see where they stand. I'm going to turn it over to Sean Godin, who is Principal AI Engineer MarTech at HubSpot. He's with Scott Gillum, founder and CEO of Carbon Design.
Awesome. So happy to be here. Hope everybody's really enjoying the conference. And yeah, we just want to take a moment here and check in with Scott and have him share all the amazing work he's been doing. Scott?
Thanks, Sean. And thank you for having us on today. One of the things that we noticed was that some of the emails that have been created for donors use a number of different tactics, as you would expect, but they have a tendency to go out to all donors. And so what we wanted to do is create some really personalized emails and really look at understanding the different segments that we have out there and we serve. And so we've fed into Claude background, psychographic, demographic information on their donors. And then we started to build custom emails. And so if I could share the screen for a second, I'll give you a feel for what the emails look like currently. And let's see if you guys can see the screen. Are we good? Is it popping up?
Yep.
Okay. And you can see this. This is a tactic that's often used for donations. There's a sense of urgency, as you can see here. In 2 days, families were going to lose a valuable food source. Without it down here in the bold, we all lose. That can actually be pretty effective with some audiences, and it actually turns off other audiences. And so what we've done is created a number of different approaches for the organization in order the way to build their emails. Can you see my screen? It's now popping up.
Yep.
Okay. So the most important part, and let me try to expand this a little bit so you guys can get a better view of this, is this part up here is the audience are now very segmented into understanding age demographics, as I mentioned, what's their passion, how do we appeal to them on a very personal level to get them to want to make a charitable contribution to the organization. So you can see these emails are being crafted for specific audience types with different motivations, which is super important when you're trying to make that personal connection. And from there, now we are now progressing into being able to create drip campaigns for them. And I'll show you a Claude view of that as well. This may be a little hard to see if you can see it. What we're now building is a drip campaign for every 7 days to go after this is going after donors who have given in the past, but haven't given recently. It's a 7-day drip campaign, sequence of 3 emails to try to get them to donate again. And so we can continue to work on a number of different ways to build those emails so that they resonate with the audience, build campaigns for them once we have all this information around the psychographic and demographics of their audience. And so it'll give them some flexibility. It's plug and play, allows them to really start to align this towards whatever audience that they're going after.
All right, Mark, you've got Melissa, who we checked in on earlier, and let's see what Melissa's working on.
Yeah, last we heard, Melissa, you guys had a functional PRD and you were headed off into the micro donation world. What's happened in the last hour or so?
Yeah, so just a quick refresher, we are building an app for micro donations, and I know we're a little tight on time, but I'll give you a sense of what we're building. So this is a web page. We've got dual coding going on. This one's being generated by Gemini, and then you can see this other one that is being generated by Claude. And every time somebody donates, a plant pops up and you can donate different amounts. Right now, we are working on crafting and improving the visuals of this website. So next time we check in, hopefully we'll have a more complete app to share with you.
All right. 3:30 Eastern, we'll be back. Final session of the day. We're going to have Tony Hillary from Harlem Grown on. All of our Vibe coders, we're going to look at what people have been working on and see some finished products or close to finished products. We'll catch up with you then.
Hi, everybody, and it's good to see you all. Welcome to the session, Say Goodbye to Busy Work. And this is Say Goodbye to Busy Work by Rethinking Marketing Workflows. My name is Melissa Reeve. I am founder of Hyper Adaptive Solutions, and I'll be your moderator today. I'm so excited for the people who are here with me today. We've got Brianna Miller, who's Director of Demand Generation at Cohere Health. We've got Moni Oloyede, owner and founder of MarTech. I love saying that. And we have Andrew Hall, VP of Global Demand Gen at Canto. And just as a quick reminder, if this is your first session, if you have questions or comments, please drop them into the chat and we will do our best to address them during Q&A later in the session. And to kick things off, I would like to ask Brianna, how is AI impacting your workflows? For example, where is AI accelerating work and where is it still just a blocker not being used?
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. And I would say AI is really accelerating execution across content development, research, sales follow up. Overall, it's allowing our team to move from the initial idea to a campaign much faster. The biggest roadblock I'm seeing with my team isn't the technology as much, because there's so many different options out there, but really the foundation of how we're using the technology. Because really, AI can only work as well as it's grounded in the clear personas, strong data, and in healthcare, different security and compliance requirements.
Sorry, Moni, let's hear from you.
I'm going to draft off of what Brianna just said. Absolutely, speed to execution tenfold, like lightning at this point. I think one of the hurdles is a lot of beauty marketers, my clients that I see dealing with AI, is still stuck in the kind of content development phase of AI and haven't, been able to identify use cases outside of that. One of the areas for growth there is definitely in sort of, CRM. So taking some of those stages of either qualification or data cleanup or data analysis and using AI for that.
Yeah, those are all wonderful use cases, and I can see how that accelerates what you have going on. Andrew, you're in a large enterprise. What is AI doing there?
Difficult to add on after those two. That they covered a lot of the main things we see. What I see as a huge kind of force multiplier for us is the ability to analyze data. And so if you look at the amount of money we're spending in paid channels, mostly paid search, but all our paid channels, the ability of AI tools to help us analyze the effectiveness thereof and therefore bring down our cost and increase conversion. That's been a really good delivery from an AI perspective. In fact, game changing. The biggest thing that I'm seeing across our teams, across a lot of other teams that we talk to across the industry is, and it was mentioned by both the other panelists, is that we're seeing AI stuck within the divisions that are being used, so very tactical use of AI, where we're looking to try and drive, and it's not easy, but where I'm seeing a blocker is, hey, how is AI moving from tactics into strategy? Then the work that's being done in different divisions is actually helping teammates and other parts of the organization. And so you've got the strategic delivery of AI versus a very tactical one is the biggest roadblock and challenge that I'm seeing at the moment.
Yeah, and I'm glad you introduced this notion of tactic versus strategy, because that goes right into our poll. And I'd like to ask the audience to take this poll, and the poll is, how is AI helping you? Is it on that tactical level, is doing the work? Is it more strategically really helping you think through the work? Is it both, or is it neither? And please enter your choice, and then sorry, I've got the instructions in front of me. You'll be asked to join. Please enter your first name and then click on the join audience button, then click on the polls icon in the top right corner of your video window. And then you'll see the poll come up like I'm seeing it in my screen right now, and make one selection. And we'll just give folks a couple of seconds to respond. And while you're doing that, I'll just go over the instructions one more time. So you'll be asked to join, and that should be up on your screen. So enter your first name and click the join audience button. and then click the polls icon. It'll be in the top right corner of your video window. And then you should see the poll come up on the right side panel of the video window and select your option. Again, I'm seeing it on my screen. It's tactically, strategically, both, or neither. And that should have given folks some time to respond. Do we have the results? Okay, so people are using it both tactically and strategically. So Andrew, you were the one who kind of raised this issue. Any thoughts or reactions about that?
I think it looks great. I'm not surprised that tactically we're seeing the second highest. I think both is really good. Certainly, what I've seen is the shift from high usage tactically into thinking how do we go strategically in this world of connected AI tools to deliver automated processes and workflows is absolutely happening. We've not got it right yet. We've certainly got the individual usage, content creation, analytics down pat. What we're looking to do, and kind of like we're on that journey at the moment, is really now connecting that ecosystem of tools so they start talking to each other and we can start gleaning more strategic outcomes. So very impressed from the audience. If anyone wants to reach out to give me advice on our journey, I'd love that. But I do think there's a lot to be unlocked in connecting the AI tech stack to drive automation and really meaningful insights around how to drive strategy change.
Yeah, thanks for that. So Brianna, I'm going to turn to you now and ask you, if we audited a typical marketing team, your marketing team's work, where are we still losing the most hours to invisible manual labor? In which of those areas offers the highest ROI when transitioned to an automated workflow?
Great question. So I think there's a lot of invisible time that is still lost with manual reporting, and internal coordination would probably definitely be one of the big things. And also just, I want to say, searching for the right content. I know I get a lot of questions from my sales team as I'm trying to support them of what is the right piece of content that I should share with this person when they have this question. So if there's different ways that I can automate reporting, or maybe engagement summaries for my sales team, and then definitely the content discovery can really create some, I think, immediate efficiency and free up more of my team's time. So like we used Jasper, and using the knowledge base that I can then tag with personas and, all the information I can, have my sales team just be able to research exactly what content they need for which persona, and it can free up a lot of that kind of back and forth time.
That makes a lot of sense, and I see that same thing happening in the organizations that I'm working with and for. Andrew, what are you seeing?
It's interesting. I don't want to be too of a shameless plug around a dam, but we're obviously at the forefront of content usefulness, content lifecycle generation. I'm lucky I get to engage with a lot of our customers. We have over 4,000. The biggest issue, so AI is driving this incredible increase in content generation. Brianna mentioned it. One of the biggest waste of times we see is searching for content. And so this idea of automated workflows, the strategic delivery of AI, which I love, it's very interesting when you get the foundations right. And if you can't find the right content you're looking to produce that's on brand, within your needs, etc., it's amazing how many hidden hours are there, and that kind of creative burden or that creative drain it puts on is really huge. And then the other one that I would say is analytics and reporting, as mentioned already. So if I move back to my team, the amount of time we're spending delivering insights to the organization that can be delivered from an AI perspective is huge. We spend a lot of time pulling data together and understanding what's working, what's not working, etc.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned the time spent on searching. A random stat I happen to know is the average person spends 9.3 hours a week searching for information and just surfacing what they need to know.
Yeah, Melissa, it's quite incredible. It's an incredible stat. We see it a lot and often unspoken as well. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So Moni, this next one's for you. Beyond just generating copy, which of course lots and lots of people are doing, how is AI fundamentally restructuring the way we manage the life cycle of a digital asset, from that initial creative brief to automated tagging and global distribution?
think one of the things that I would see and I'm trying to help my clients do, and I hope more clients do, is with their content is analysis of the content. So just like the stuff that's, what's the usage? How long has this been out here? What's the engagement rate of these things? I think AI is probably a good use case for that, for the effectiveness and usability of that particular asset. Where does it fit in our customer lifecycle, customer journey? Right, those kind of questions I think are useful for AI to do and help you. So one of our kind of the previous discussion is one of the things that I preach to my clients is crawl, walk, run. A lot of clients get messed up because they're trying to, do the end-to-end workflow, the end-to-end life cycle with AI. It's too much, right? And it's like, well, this didn't work and that didn't work and now it's trash and get it out of here. We're just going to go back to our manual ways. So it's like, slow down. Let's break this down into like a manageable section. Can it do this one piece? And then let's add on and so on and so forth. So jumping too far down the gun is a big issue that I see happen. But from a content standpoint, let's try to figure out what is this asset trying to do? Where does it fit in the life cycle? And then what's its best effectiveness? I think that's a good use for AI.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. Sometimes we have to slow down to speed up and not try and boil the ocean with AI. At least not yet, even though despite the hype of the headlines, the reality of AI is that we're still taking baby steps. Brianna, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I definitely think that AI is starting earlier in the content process versus just kind of like the distribution. It's helping teams develop stronger campaign briefs and synthesize research and refine messaging before we even really start creating it. And I think that extends back to like the back end of the life cycle. So, not just the creation of it, but the auto tagging, the content discovery, the insights, all of that that is coming throughout the whole life cycle of the content. But the majority definitely on the kickoff. It can make us move a lot faster.
Yeah, and Andrew, obviously you were at the epicenter here of this content life cycle and these questions. What's your point of view?
It's interesting. Well, I've got a strong point of view, obviously, based on who employs me and what we're doing. What we're finding fascinating is that, as mentioned both by Brianna and Moni, is that AI is coming in earlier and creating lots more content. Some of it really, really good. But what happens after that, right? So where does this content go, and do you have foundational tech in place that can manage it? Is that foundational tech AI powered? And then if that is in place, then you start to kind of really see the benefits of AI driven technology. So things like that was mentioned already, how easy is it to discover these multitudes of different images? Do you have cool things like AI similarity that says this is one image, but there's actually another 100 that are quite similar? Do you have the right version? And then all the way through down to analytics of how well things have performed. Again, if you don't have foundational tech in place that harnesses and stores this powerful AI delivery, you end up in fairly precarious places, right? That actually ends up slowing you down the longer term rather than enhancing things. And so what we're seeing is big increase in content delivery. That's great. And a bigger need for really strong AI-driven foundational tech that can manage it optimally to make sure that you're reaping the benefits of the kind of upfront work.
Yeah, that's great. So I just wanted to throw a question out there around hypotheses, right? Which is, now that we have the ability to generate so much more content, it seems like we also need more rigor around experimentation and trying to figure out how the impact that this content is making. I've heard a lot of discussion around segmentation and creating more tailored copy. I'm just curious, like Moni, are you seeing more emphasis around experimentation and hypothesis as well?
I would love to. I think we're still in that mode of like, we sit in the conference room and say, we need this thing. And like, let's go have AI help me create that thing. I am definitely focused on, we have this tool that can help us do research at scale. So why don't we use it to do that and then to inform whether this is the right piece of asset to go and create based on what we understand about our customer and also what the market is telling us. I think that's a better use of creating the content. It'll create better content and not, AI slop and all the stuff we're trying to avoid. But I think that's one of the pitfalls. We still are taking our own bad habits and trying to apply them to AI, and it sometimes can get us into trouble. So if we can do some research up front to understand not only the type of content, the topic, but maybe the format, the perspective, the positioning of the content, all those sorts of things we can use AI for to help us create more effective content.
Yeah, and Brianna, what are you seeing in terms of that culture shift? The shift from the way we used to do things into a more experimental, hypothesis-driven, outcome-focused approach.
Yes, I definitely see that, and not just in regards to like using AI to help us in what we're doing, but across the board, whether it's my leadership or just my team, they're asking the questions of what was the impact of the work that they did. So it's been very critical to my role to actually like come in and make sure that I have all of the integrations between the CRMs and the systems working to show engagement of the campaigns and the influence, not just on like leads created, but on pipeline generated and closed won. So I think because of the amount of content that we're putting out there right now, it's becoming more prominent in the conversations maybe, but it's definitely probably a daily thing of how is this campaign influencing and this content that we're creating influencing pipeline.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to jump to how team roles are evolving. And Andrew, I'm going to tee this one up for you first. So as automation starts to take over this repetitive execution, I really feel like marketing ops as a role is shifting. And what do you feel are the new skills or the new team structures that are necessary to ensure that we're using this supposed found time, although I've yet to find time, for high-level strategy rather than just filling it with more low-value tasks?
I think we're in the middle of that change, and so I don't know if I've got a definitive answer at the moment, but I can give you my view and what I'm seeing. The one thing I think is wonderful is this democratization of data and availability of data for everyone. And so, marketing ops, which is an incredibly powerful role within the world of especially B2B demand gen in SaaS, it's critical. And I have a very, very strong marketing ops person. But the availability of data and then the ability to analyze data no longer sits as one person's job or is governed by one person. What the likes of Claude, if you're using Copilot and the like, is given a lot more of the team the ability to go and analyze and look at things. So I think that's freed up more time for marketing ops to look at systems, processes, to make sure that things are connected, to make sure that we have this automation and personalization at scale, rather than dealing with requests on, hey, can I get conversion numbers? Hey, how do these things work, etc. I'm loving the shift from that being almost not stuck, that's unfair, but stuck within marketing ops. Now actually these tools are allowing everyone to analyze and think how data changes their approach. That allows a huge shift to happen in marketing operations that can go into strategic linking of a connected tech stack to deliver more and more and more. Again, it's evolving. I think it's going to change. It might not be the same in every organization, but we've certainly seen a really big shift towards data availability and analysis of data as well.
Yeah, what I love about what you're saying is that it raises two things in my mind. One is what I call adjacent competencies. And so it's this notion that we can extend ourselves in different areas. So now, whereas before I used to rely on one person, now I can do the data analysis myself. And I think the second thing that comes to mind is just how much we shortcut the process in the past. We said we did data analysis and we did some, but because we had that bottleneck around that single individual, my guess is we didn't do as much as we wanted to. Brianna, how are you seeing these roles start to shift in your organization? I think you might be on mute.
Goodness gracious. Thank you. So I very much agree, Andrew, with you as well. I think that it's taking away a lot of these tasks from having to be siloed within one role and being able to have multiple people access the data they need, such as, and being able to interpret it a lot easier. So there's definitely that shift. And I think that's allowing a lot of my team members to think more strategically on just like a daily basis, because they have access to this information that they didn't have, before.
Yeah, thanks for that. Moni, are you seeing any roles start to shift?
I know we're now, it's in the evolution of sort of, MOPS and RevOps and go to market. Like we're now in this sort of cycle to trying to get closer and closer to the revenue part of the job, which I totally understand. And one thing I will say is, I've been in MOPS for a long time and it's almost the beginning. But one of the things that I will say is that we focus a lot on the output and not on the input that leads to the output. So if you don't have the right campaign structure and good messaging and good basic marketing foundations, you're not going to get the output that you are seeking. And I feel like we assume a lot of times that just because we have a campaign, it's the right campaign, it's the right message, it's the right audience, and therefore our analytics tell us we should have X amount of millions of pipeline. That's not necessarily the case. We need to back up and also we need to front end our analytics, right? There's data on the front too, right? There's analysis to be done on the front end as well as the back end. So who is this audience? What do they care about? What is the market telling us about them? Those analytical inputs can feed the campaign that can then get us the analytics we want on the back end too as well. So the strategy is 360. So we're just not strategic on the back end. We need to be strategic of, is this the right kind of content? Is this the right kind of message? What kind of information do we need to get that kind of information? How do we feed that back into the audience, right? Some of the hypothesis we were talking about, hypothesis is an assumption, it's an educated guess. We need to go validate that we are right. We need to validate that this is the right message for this particular audience, and then optimize that, and then go to the analytics. We jump to the analytics and go, we didn't get enough MQLs, or these are bad, and then we get mad. So this is a 360 process, not just on the back end, but on the front end too.
Yeah, and I think it's a great segue into our next topic, and I think you've actually answered part of it, which is this common fear is that AI and automation will lead to cookie cutter marketing. I think we all see it, and I'm interacted with AI enough that I'm like, oh, there's that AI quirk that I see all the time. So how do we build workflows that serve the purpose of accelerating production speed without sacrificing the brand soul and that creative innovation that makes us humans and resonates with humans? Brianna, what are your thoughts?
Yes, I think this is very, very critical to all the marketing we're doing. It's a discussion I actually have a lot in my class as well as a professor and with the students. And I think the big thing is providing as much context as possible for the AI so that something generic doesn't pop out. So that's very, very detailed personas that it can, research and understand, as well as your brand voice, not just picking one from the drop down and ChatGPT, but really building out what your brand voice is, and even maybe possibly by platform. And that will help, I think, a lot with it not feeling cookie cutter, because you're choosing your persona and your brand voice to then go into whatever the topic is of your campaign.
Yeah, that's great. Andrew, what are you seeing from your perspective?
As someone who spent a large portion of their career in the agency world, I have a strong opinion and a hope that really good breakthrough creative work is never going to be more valuable now than it ever has been, because of everything you've just said, right? So I think, to build on what Brianna said, I think what we need to get, and I also think the company who gets the balance right is going to be the organization who wins. And what is that balance? We've spoken a lot about the operational efficiencies that AI is going to bring in. And so we need to recognize where those operational efficiencies are and build in time to be human and creative as well. And so I think the combination of human-centered thoughts and creative breakthrough messaging and campaigns that resonate and are different and are seriously creative, combined with a very well orchestrated AI-driven content machine, is going to see organizations kind of connect with individuals rather than potentially miss things. And getting that balance right is is going to be critical. AI is going to give incredible operational efficiencies. Let's find those and let's plug that extra time we have into creativity and delivering breakthrough content.
I really love that. And I remember I was attending a conference where it was actually a Starbucks, not Starbucks, what are those little candies, the Star Kiss campaign, and the level of creativity that they were able to inject with AI. Starburst, thank you. Somebody dropped that in the chat. Was just amazing. And they were able to create like such customized creative content. And it's my hope that we as marketers can rise above the fray and actually have some room to breathe and be more creative, because I know that's what drives a lot of us. So I'd love to switch gears into reporting. So I know a lot of us are focused on reporting and spend our day-to-day in spreadsheets, manual reporting. And my question is, what is the first foundational piece of technology that teams should implement to move toward a smarter, more automated reporting ecosystem? And Andrew, I know you've got deep expertise here. I'm going to turn to you first.
This is a tough one because picking one is near impossible, but I'll give you some views on where I think you need to start. The biggest thing for me is connectedness. And so any technology these days that isn't talking to other pieces of tech within your ecosystem should be reviewed very carefully. And this, probably find most of the audience based on the poll suggestion is way beyond there. If you're talking about content generative teams, I talk about foundational tech. Things like a DAM sits in the center of foundational tech, a place to go and centralize all of your content. I believe things like workflow management is foundational technology to ensure that the workflows that you're creating are processed digitally and can be measured and audited along with the output that is content. And then added to that is your creative suite, right? So if you think of whether that's copy or whether it's design, that ecosystem is foundational technology that has to talk to each other. So from concept to brief to creation to storage to sharing to analytics, those three are going to get you very good solid foundations. Once you start building on top of that, I think you have to start looking at the content journey and say, right, what technology starts to enhance this delivery, creative execution, briefing process, etc. Then you can start looking at that technology to get there. Now, we obviously work with multiples of those. We work across the whole content journey, and so there's almost too many to mention. And there's some incredibly strong analytical tools that now sit on top of all of that to give you one pane of glass, which we're using and I find hugely powerful. But foundational technology, I'd go down to the core of campaign delivery, which speaks to concept generation to content generation, and what technology are the drivers of those.
Mm-hmm. Love the interoperability. Moni, I feel like you have an interesting point of view here. You want to share your thoughts about this foundational piece of technology for reporting?
For me, it's a CRM, right? Like, I mean, that's kind of ground zero. If you have a kind of messy database, and we all know we've all experienced it, it's sort of, you're pushing a boulder up a hill after that. So I think, and this is to me where AI currently shines the most in its current form, is sort of plugging in your database, whatever that is, and letting it analyze and see where are the gaps, where are the duplicates, where is the missing information, where is the redundant information. Like, that stuff is tremendously helpful as far as making kind of strides there. I will say, to Andrew's point, I always preach that like data is not the responsibility of marketing; it's responsibility of the entire organization. So where everybody else's kind of piece fits in that is super duper important. But if the data is messy and we have a bunch of entry points and no one knows what's going on, we don't know where to start and move from there. So I feel like, again, where AI shines to me currently is in database and CRM analysis as a good starting point, and then being able to make decisions from there.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great soundbite. Data is everybody's responsibility. Brianna, you're nodding. What does this question look like from your point of view?
Yes. I mean, I honestly, Moni and Andrew, I don't know if I can add anything to it. They absolutely nailed this question and the experience that I'm having as well. But yes, if your data is not where it needs to be, then the AI also can't do what it needs to. So We'll just reiterate the same type of point, but yes, the data, because it making sure it's in the right place, it's clean, it's the right data that we need in order for the AI to give me these insights quickly.
Great.
Absolutely amazing answers already.
Well, this has been a great discussion. We want to leave some time for questions. So let's do just a quick round of rapid fire here. What is one tip you want to leave the audience with today? Moni, over to you.
Crawl, walk, run. Don't try to boil the ocean right away. Start small, a simple task, and then grow from there.
Love it. Yeah, Andrew, what is your word of wisdom, parting words of wisdom?
So difficult. There's been so many good ones from my fellow panelists today. I would say make sure in a world that we it's frenzied work and busy and time, you've got to build out the time to think about and be intentional about what technology you're buying and what it's going to do. If not, you're not going to see the results, and it can be very expensive. And so just build out time in your day to understand what technology is out there, what it can help you with, and how it's connected to your strategy.
Such great words of wisdom.
Moni, over to you. Brianna, I think.
No,
oh, sorry, Brianna.
No worries at all. So I would say don't just use AI to just work faster in general. Make sure that you are if you're using it for any type of content generation workflows, use it, make it into a content marketer that truly understands all of your personas and brand voice. That foundation is critical so that we don't look like we are obviously using AI from a content perspective.
Yeah, I love it. And I do think there's a time and a place for AI, and there's a time and place for human. And then there's this amazing intersection of collaboration. So what a great discussion here with all of you today. And I am excited to answer some of the questions that have been coming in from our viewers. If you do have questions, please put them in the chat, and we will just take a look and see what is coming through. So here is one, and feel free to just jump in if you have an answer. So the question is, since most organizations here are in the having some success stage, what is the fastest step to move from partial integration to true customer context?
It's loaded. That's a big old, it depends. what are we trying to do here? But I think if you are kind of using workflows and in connected tools, then I would say that the first step is evaluating the seamlessness of the workflow, because that's before even AI. That was a big thing. It's like we have connected tools, but like they have a gap here, it has a fail here, and then has an issue over here. How connected is it really? How seamless is it really? And then how are the departments that are affecting or using these different the tools or in the workflow themselves, how are they aligning with the workflow? Because again, a common issue is like, sales is in Salesforce, but they're not updating the thing that they need to update for this to work. So it's like this all the participants doing what they need to do in order to continue this workflow. So glad it's all connected, glad you're moving forward, but now my next step would be in the evaluation phase to optimize this to make it the best it can be.
Great. Andrew, Brianna, anything to add on to that?
Not really, to be honest. Depends what tool you're using and in what context. But I think Moni did a pretty good job of covering that.
Yeah, great. So the next question is, AI is helping with data analysis, and there's some curiosity. Are you hooking your CRM, or if you're not doing it directly, do you see people hooking their CRM directly to Claude or ChatGPT, or using a connector like Zapier?
So, I can take this. We are connecting directly. I'll quick shout out for HubSpot here. We're a HubSpot user. Breeze has made some great advantages already, but then we 100% are connecting Copilot and Claude directly into the CRM. Just a big caveat there, and be careful. We have an enterprise license. You have to be very careful of sharing API data, personal information data with any AI tool that is an enterprise. And so just especially if you're working across the globe. So it's one thing that we came across around just usage and availability of private information data inside these tools. But yes, we connect directly into it.
Yeah, it depends on the CRM. Not every CRM has a connector directly to some of these tools. HubSpot is the one. I think Monday are the two that have like the biggest kind of wide availability for a lot of AI tools. Salesforce is obviously trying to do its own thing, so kudos to them. I'm hearing some not enterprise level, but kind of startups and smaller businesses are vibe coding their own CRMs. So there's that option too.
That's a whole new world, brave new world. Brianna, what are you doing in your organization?
So very similar with HubSpot. We have HubSpot as well, and Salesforce. So using Breeze on the HubSpot side, we're in the healthcare tech space. There's a lot of compliance and regulations, so we're very locked down, not using a Zapier to integrate things that way to keep our data very, very secure. But I will definitely say that Breeze has been very helpful for us to especially summarize like overall company engagement, since we have so many influential people part of the buying cycle. It's been very, very helpful.
Yeah, that's great to hear the frontline experiences. So here's another frontline experience. How do you trust AI in workflows to make sure it's not missing any data or any actions? And as we all know, AI gets us about 80%, maybe 90% of the way there. What are we doing on the front lines? What are you all seeing? Brianna, what's going on in your
Yeah, I'm thinking about this.
It's tech, you know what I mean? We had this in the marketing automation days. Like, what marketing automation flow was perfect? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like kind of comes with the territory sometimes.
I was thinking something similar. It's questioning things still. It's not just accepting it as what it is. So when it's doing a data analysis, or I'm adding AI into steps in my workflow, I know not just set it up and leave it and just trust that, okay, this is automatic. Like, still really be very strategic marketers and try to question what it's giving you, to make sure that it's the right thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
I
also
like
like
to.
code it to feed to look at some of the errors. Like, once you start catching errors, you can kind of feed it back into the model and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like to say that in the era of agentic AI, we go from doing the task to building, monitoring, and maintaining the AIs that build the task. And it's so imperative that we keep humans in the loop in order to make sure that the models aren't drifting, that the workflows are operating as expected. And so I would be surprised if we see the day where we just set things loose and we don't have to maintain them and monitor them. In fact, I think that would be a very dangerous place to be. Andrew, do you have any hot take on this?
Yeah, I think we spoke earlier about the evolving role of marketing operations. Interesting enough, in our world, my head of marketing operations is the one doing the checks and balances and looking at ways to put guardrails in to make sure that we've got the right places to kick tires and check. And so I do actually think that this potentially is an area in your organization that marketing ops can lead. It's everyone's responsibility, as we said earlier, but it is an interesting, just that kind of analytical mindset and structured mindset is certainly well proportioned with the team member I have to be able to go and look at those with a kind of logical view to go, does this make sense? Does it not? I will say that AI hallucinations are a real thing. The good thing so far is the ones that we've caught are very obvious. They've got it very wrong rather than almost wrong. But I do think this is very relevant to the evolving role of marketing operations.
Yeah, so true. And I think it's important to really keep humans in the loop, especially as we move into automating some of these workflows. It's been a fabulous discussion. Thank you all for joining me here today. Really appreciate your various viewpoints. Thank you to the audience for sticking with us. If you could please take a moment to rate this session, we would appreciate the feedback. And then please click the red button in the Dig Deeper tab to get to the next session. Thanks everyone for joining us here today.